Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail with another Scrolls Let's Play where I've gotten a few requests to see me do Decay or play Decay some more. And to be honest, my deck is still a thing that is under construction. But I do want to show you kind of an early, my Decay deck is still growing game versus Tarp Card. Tarp Card who has much more cards than I do, but it's going to be a Decay versus Decay matchup as is pretty common nowadays. But just my opening hand here is Nutrition, which is a staple card for the Nutrition Puppet combo. Scavenger Construct, which has some uses, but I don't know if it'll live in my card. Loyal Darkling, which I severely underestimated because it can do damage when it dies. Oblivion Seeker, which is a good, hey look, this has heritage on it kind of card. And Ilmar Rod Eater, which is infamous in of itself. So just going ahead and getting the game started, I decide probably to get rid of the Scavenger Construct first. Yes, I do. And what my deck currently has that I'm building with, it relies a lot on Totem of Suffering, Searing Shackles, those kind of things, just to really penalize opponents that play structures. And I can do damage that way. There's been some games that I've kind of eked out and won just by doing enough idle damage just by having the shackles on the structures. But here you're going to see Tarp Card playing a Loyal Darkling first, and I do the exact same thing, just on a different line there as he's going to move it up. And he also gets a Languid, which he drops on this to make it go 0-0 or 0-2. But at this point I don't really care. I want him to kill this so I can do some early idle damage. Draw a Puppet Soldier, which doesn't do me a ton of good, but I can drop an Ilmar Rod Eater back here, so if he kills this, he takes 2 idle damage. And then the Rod Eater goes up to 4-4, which is nice, but hey, look at this. Similar stuff right here. This is just a lot of the same cards people are playing. Tarp Card has a deck that's fairly similar to mine, but there is Searing Shackles right away, which I have 2 of them. I have 3 in my deck. Like I said, it's not the optimal card, but I'm trying to do something that involves direct idle damage and trying to slow or maintain the game until I can get that damage in there, which is great against decks that play structures such as Decay and Energy. Not so great against Growth, not so great against Order from my experience so far. Apparently awesome, this deck's awesome though against Growth, Order, Draw, but that's kind of on accident. So here we go. Another Loyal Darkling for Tarp Card. As you can see right away, he's eating the damage from Searing Shackles from the Rod Eater here. And he's just hoping that I'll kill one of these two to do idle damage to myself and buff his Rod Eater. We're kind of in the same position right now. So not too much to say, just an early... Look at this, it's round 5. How hard can both of these players work, me and Tarp Card work, to not kill each other? It's like we're the peaceful Ilmar Decay. Like, he can move up and do some damage, take out this guy, but once again, the Oblivion Seeker, I'll get 2 cards. And look right there, very familiar, very similar cards here. So he has multiple structures, he's finally doing some idle damage as well, taking the Searing Shackles damage. Do draw a Languid, which I put on the Oblivion Seeker just to take out his 2 attack, because left unchecked it can go, and I do get some cards that are going to start proving some worth to me a little bit. Witch Doctor is a card that I'm still getting the hang of using, more so because it costs 6 Decay than anything, but it is nice for humanoid creatures like these two. If I were to say set them in this tile, these two would turn into Husk and die and they would buff there, so not too bad. Infectious Blight is great, especially with the Miasma Well, but right now there's the Infectious Blight on my Rod Eater. There's the Miasma Wells also. Right now he's playing into my favor a little bit and actually doing some damage, letting me draw cards here. And now I have a lot of poison I can drop. I could drop a Mire Curse, I could drop an Infectious Blight, I could do Damning Curse. Might not be a terrible idea to Damning Curse the Rot Eater at this point, or I could just Infectious Blight. There's the Damning Curse. And part of the reason I did that was because this guy was just going to die anyway. And I probably shouldn't be going to kill this guy, but you know, at this rate, I'm still learning the resource. I'm just trying to play games here, but at least round 7, round 8, we're finally getting some bloodshed. One could call that as brain lice, and this is what I really like about Tarp Card's play here. He understands a lot of how Decay works, and this is where it kind of clued me in that maybe his deck is similar to mine, because my struggles against Decay and Energy have been players who have been very willing to sacrifice their own creatures for the greater good. And I didn't even think of ever playing Brain Lice on my own creature, but he's playing it on his own Oblivion Seeker, not using it as a blocker at all, using it as a 5 Decay, 2 scroll draw. Not sure if that is the optimal play for casting 5 Decay, but it does give him cards where he does have 1 right now. And I'm not putting much of a threat on the board here with only 3 cards. So there's the second Languid. I'm going to do my best not to kill that Darkling. Which means all I need to do is just move up at this point, play some more creatures, and there's the old Ilmire Hunter, which is what I like to think of as a panic card for other people. Slayer is a huge threat, but one that, since it's just 1 creature on this kind of board tile setup, that can be neutralized. Like right here, Ilmire Witch Doctor, and you can see Tarp card actually sacrificing, and I have to talk through some of these moves because they don't show up here. Sacrificing his Darkling and getting a husk out of it. This guy dies next turn, it becomes a husk as well. And I could let the poison kill it, or I could let this guy kill it. Either way, he's going to get cards from the Brain Lice as well. So that's 3 cards for 6 resources. Some people say that's not terrible at all. But there is a Cursemonger on the ground as well. As I'm going to actually elect to attack the husk, might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Like I said, this is a post-commentary from a game I did play a little while ago. But I do have a Nutrition in hand if the opportunity presents itself, and I get a Puppet Master as well. And I don't know if that's going to come or not, but suddenly Tarp card is making me a little worried because he's getting a lot of stuff on the board. And look at this, a card that I haven't played with lately, but I did draw here, which is Cluster Hex. Now, Cluster Hex is a kind of important card, not so much because you can target a tile and I can target all these creatures, but because, and I didn't know this at the time, but I wanted to experiment and see what would happen. This unit has 0 attacks. Slayer requires you do damage. As you'll see here, Slayer will activate on this husk because I cast Cluster Hex and make it happen, make it explode. So if you do something that adds damage like Curse, you can bring Slayer back into play, even if the Ilmire Hunter gets something like Languid. So that husk is going. I have the Blight on poor Witch Doctor, who's just hurting at this rate. And he's cursed as well, don't forget. So he's taking a little more damage. But there is the Brain Lice right at me, and the Cursemonger, and the Searing Shackles. So if I just let that guy sit, I'm going to be taking plenty of idle damage, which I don't really want. But I do get a Miasma Well, which is pretty nice. And let's see here, this is just Brain Lice, so there's not going to be much point for me trying to Nutrition and neutralize that. But at this rate, I guess the better question for me is, who do I want to kill? Do I want to move cards around, see if I can kill the Life Stealer, who does have Curse 1? Do I want to move the Oblivion Seeker down? Have I already moved the Oblivion Seeker, I guess is my other question, because I'm looking here saying, hey, wait a minute, should have I just killed the Witch Doctor? Could have been a misplay, possible misplay, but you know what? Maybe I was smarter back then because the Witch Doctor was already poisoned and going to die anyway. That's where post-commentaries are kind of fun, and you get in the middle of this and you wonder, what in the world was I thinking? And that is where one of the challenges comes from with Decay there, is the Life Eater takes out my Oblivion Seeker, and I get 2 pretty useful cards. Is that, look at the debuffs we have here. It's just 1 little glow, and you can't, I'd love to have a system or an add-on or something that just sort of gives me a flyby. I can look at the screen and not have to click and see what exactly debuffs everything has. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you can forget, you can lose it. But see, there's the Cursemonger dying to the Brain Lice. That I knew was coming. I get the other card, that wasn't from Brain Lice, but I get rid of the Cluster Hex, not too useful here. I see the Totem of Suffering, so I kind of have an idea of what he's going for here. I put Searing Shackles on this Miasma Well just to try and do some idle damage. And just because I don't really care at this point what happens. And no, even though I am doing a direct idle damage kind of deck, I'm not playing with Hex Marks right now, as he gets out a Harvester, which is interesting to me, as there's a Nutrition as well. Take out that creature. Now that was a really nice Nutrition, as there's a lot going on here, and I am trying to watch the pace after some comments and feedback from people there. The Nutrition was nice there because I got rid of the Infectious Blight. And I was just thinking, wow, he's playing that Harvester, it's just going to jump straight to him next turn. Nope, the poison has been neutralized. Let's see here, Puppet Soldier and Nutrition. I can play that combo. I take out my own Miasma Well, but maybe it would be worth it to take out the Harvester or something at this rate. But kind of a tough quandary to be in. Like I said, it would be a viable move to use the Nutrition Puppet Soldier, but no, I get Infectious Blight instead, so I'm going to go for poisoning the Harvester. Playing this guy up here, and to be honest, I ran out of time. I wasn't exactly sure where I should play everything. Maybe I should have played these guys closer to the rats. I say please have a Mire Curse because I'm all clumped to hell. as there's the Oblivion Seeker. And what is going to happen here now? I have a cluster hex. There's all kinds of things that I can do here. Just plenty of ways to play and save, one could say. The question becomes, how do I want to do this? There is another creature dying. And do I take out the Miasma Well as well here? I guess that is the question of the day. Because there is the Puppet Soldier Nutrition combo. Now you see that that exploded in part because of the Darkling that died. While we just paused there. But I did not take out this because there is Searing Shackles on there. And the nice thing about the nutrition, about the combo there is that it knocked down all of these units. It dropped the cooldown for the Harvester. I know I could have had some dramatic upswell say, oh, the Harvester's attacking. But no, we're going to send a Tarp card. Puppet. Nutrition right back there. Damning Curse. Taking out everything. Ilmar Rot Eater. That's a board reset at round 15. So I'm just going ho-hum. Look at this. I hit one idol. I got the Harvester through. I have the upper hand. I'm in pretty good shape. And nope, in 3 cards. The Nutrition, the Puppet Soldier, the Damning Curse. He's able to kind of do a reversey on me. And he has more cards. He has a little bit more resources. He has a creature on the board. He may be an idle down, but I think he's in better position at this point. As there's him saying, board clear! Nice one. Round 1, go. Well, it's not quite round 1. I do have an Ilmar Witch Doctor. He has more cards. I'm a little scared about playing the Witch Doctor, but I don't really have too much else. And I guess the question becomes, what is he going to do? There's the Damning Curse. So right away I think to myself, I am now in trouble. I am on notice. I have a Miasma Well that doesn't do me a lot of good. Now the Languid and Soul Steal are interesting. So is the Totem of Suffering. But I elect just to play the cards that I have as I get another Puppet Soldier there. So Puppet Soldier to Puppet Soldier, back and forth, kind of like the Quake Fest of Growth gone yore. As there's the Brain License, suddenly I'm thinking it would have been really nice to play the Totem of Suffering there. Because that's free idle damage that I could have gotten, but didn't. Remember that later for this idle. So I get another Soul Steal. Now if I Soul Steal this guy, I lose that idle. Don't really want to do that. Get another Darkling, Oblivion Seeker. Don't have the most resources in the world, but there's my Totem of Pain, 1 turn too late. There's my Darkling, just a little late. There's a Puppet Soldier, which is an interesting placement because he's dropping the Puppet Soldier up there without nutrition, as he plays a Blightbearer as well. And like I said, I'm not entirely sold on Blightbearer because he poisons himself every time. He can screw up a bunch of rows. Kind of a chaos card in a way, but I haven't had as much luck with it, at least theoretically, because obviously I don't have a Blightbearer at this point, so no chance to play with it. But we're just restocking our board right now. He gets out another Totem of Suffering. I only have 2 in this deck. I'd love to have 3, but I've been holding off because gold's a little tight. Started with 15,000. Maybe I could have made my way a little bit better, but let's look at my hand real quick. I have a Cursemonger and an Ilmar Hunter. Those are good things. I can play another Totem of Suffering. Now, I play the Totem of Suffering in a way that's kind of stupid here, as you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Because there is a Puppet Soldier here. All he has to do is play Nutrition and it blows up everything here. But I put the Totem of Suffering on this lane, even though I don't really have to. So just kind of a dumb move. Yada yada yada. I could have sacrificed that guy and done 4 damage, but somehow I forgot he was languided. As there we get 2 Totems of Suffering on both sides. You can see both of us are going for the idle direct damage right there as he kills my guy, gets more direct damage. And now I have an Infectious Blight. I have another Puppet Soldier. Plenty of things that I can try and do here. As I could play the Witch Doctor as well and just see if my guys are going to get hurt. Instead, play the Rot Eater first. Play the Cursemonger up there. Not entirely sure what the Cursemonger's deal is. Like I said, some of these creatures I do okay with. Some I'm still trying to figure it out. At this rate, I think I may just be trying to kill my guys just to see if I can do more idle damage early. But right now, Tarp card having a much better understanding of how to play Decay here. He gets the Witch Doctor and the Rot Eater between a vulnerable Oblivion Seeker and a Blightbearer who is going to die next turn. So he's going to turn into a Husk, and the Rot Eater's going to get buffed. Now I have some things at my disposal here. Mangy Rat, a Witch Doctor, Puppet Soldier, it's not a lot of good yet. Infectious Blight that I can possibly play. It's not going to kill anything other than the Blightbearer this turn. I can also move... Oh, there's a Mire Curse and a Loyal Darkling as well. Now I can move and kill this Rot Eater down there. I do, and notice there, that idol would have been dead if I had done the damage earlier here. So this Rot Eater's going to die to Slayer. Slayer! Which he's not going to turn into a husk because he's not humanoid. Take the Darkling as well. Maybe I should use him to actually protect that idol. I don't know. But right now, because I have that 1 damage remaining, he's got to be parked there. Which stinks. So there we go. Because the Blightbearer dies, not only does he die, he dies and he does multiple idle damage here. As there's a husk. And I get a Languid, which I maybe should have dropped on the Witch Doctor, but didn't. And the thing that you're not going to see with this move here is that I select the Curse Monger, and I elect to put Curse 2 on this Lifestealer. Apparently this Lifestealer felt like a really big threat to me, even though I could have moved this guy down here to kill the Witch Doctor, and not done any idle damage to myself at the time. I guess part of the problem was that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to go up and defend. Plus, I don't really have any way to accelerate my hand here, but that's just ex post facto criticism of my own play. Not too much to do other than just take a look and say, I'm at least going to kill a Lifestealer, where the Witch Doctor is the higher priority unit. But the Witch Doctor also is poisoned, so he is going to die eventually, but not before taking out the bottom idol. So we get a Loyal Darkling as well. And let me be perfectly honest here with how I played this game. In this game, I did not realize the danger I was in from Tarp cards turn 23 or 24. And that's just lack of game knowledge. I draw Nutrition, which is the perfect card here to counter what he's trying to do. Because what I was thinking at the time was, if I Puppet Soldier and Nutrition, I can take out this entire row. And I will be boss, I will be badass, I will be so cool. Except that there's 2 Totems of Suffering, which means that if I take out all of these units, I lose my 3rd idol and die. Because that's going to be 2 damage from him dying, 2 more damage to the idol, 2 damage from this guy who's already brain-lysed and is going to die anyway. So pretty much I can't let him kill the Loyal Darkling. And even if he does the Damning Curse, pretty much my clock is ticking for what I can do to end this game. So what would be ideal for me to do is actually to Puppet Soldier and Nutrition this lane. Take out his Totems of Suffering. I can move my guys. It's going to make me clench my butt cheeks together just to see if I can survive this swell here. But at least without the Totem of Suffering damage, he's going to have to actually go through me. But is that what I do? Goodness, no. I get the Lifestealer and Cursemonger, and I just drop more creatures on the board. But hey, that's where post-commentary is kind of funny, or fun, I guess. Just keep my guys around here. Put another Lifestealer down. He's not even defending a lane that matters. So right away here, it is T-minus 1 turn. Actually, T-minus 0 turns. See what happened there? Damning Curse. Right there. He just ended the game because I did not take out those Totems of Suffering. And if I did, I still would have had a shot. He would have gotten some card draw, but I still would have been in the game. But Tarp card, having a better deck, just having a better understanding. I'm still learning Decay, but hey, it's good to look back and say, you know what, we both had similar strategies. It just came down to execution, and he executed better. Now you're going to be seeing some more Decay play from me. You're also going to be seeing some more Growth play from me as well. And I'll be honest, I have played some Growth versus Decay games, and I've gotten a little stomped. Still trying to figure it all out. But hey, that's part of the fun. That's Scrolls. You get some new life injected into the game. You get players coming back, and then you get people like me saying, hey, I am so good, until I get slapped across the battlefield. But this one was pretty close. I thought this was a good, entertaining game with some play that I can work on. But good game, Tarp card. Hope you all enjoyed, or at least enjoyed watching this one. This is Way to Fail with Scrolls. I will see you all next time.